Have you ever noticed that walking up the same flight of stairs you have climbed for years suddenly feels harder after 60? Or that your legs, once steady and strong, now feel just a little less reliable when you stand up from a chair? Here is the surprising truth. This is not simply getting old, it is biology. And the good news is, science shows there are specific, reversible reasons why your legs weaken as we age. Researchers call this decline sarcopenia, a progressive loss of muscle mass and strength. By the time most people reach their 60s, they have already lost nearly 30% of their muscle fibers compared to their 20s. But here is what most people do not realize. This is not just about strength. Weaker legs affect balance, blood circulation, brain health, even your risk of cognitive decline. In fact, a large study published in The Lancet Neurology showed that lower limb strength was one of the strongest predictors of long-term independence in older adults. Your legs, quite literally, are a gateway to your brain's vitality and your body's freedom. And here is the empowering part. Scientists are now uncovering exactly why the legs weaken, and more importantly, what can be done to slow, stop, and even reverse this decline. You will discover that it's not only about lifting weights or staying active. It is about hormones that change after 60, nerve connections that need retraining, nutritional gaps that quietly sabotage recovery, and even the role of your brain in maintaining muscular power. Now, we will break down 5 science-backed reasons your legs weaken after 60, and I will give you practical, neuroscience-driven tools you can start using immediately. We will cover why your muscles lose connection with your nerves, how inactivity rewires your brain for weakness, which nutrients directly fuel your leg power, how circulation and oxygen delivery play a hidden role, and finally, the psychological habits that accelerate decline or preserve vitality. Stick with me until the end, because each of these 5 reasons comes with a practical strategy you can apply today. And I will ask you to reflect in the comments on which of these reasons resonates most with your experience, so we can learn and grow together as a community. Here is something most people never hear from their doctor. Your muscles do not actually control themselves. Every step you take, every time you rise from a chair, even when you simply balance on one foot, it all begins in your nervous system. Specifically motor neurons. These are specialized nerve cells that act like high-speed communication cables, delivering electrical signals from your spinal cord straight into your muscles, telling them when and how to contract. But after 60, these motor neurons start to die off. Research published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience shows that between the ages of 60 and 70, adults can lose up to 30% of their motor neurons in the legs. That's staggering. And what happens when these neurons vanish? The muscle fibers they once controlled lose their connection. Without that signal, those fibers weaken, shrink, and eventually disappear. It is like unplugging lamps from a power strip. The light goes out, even if the lamp itself is perfectly fine. Now here is where it gets interesting. Your body has a backup plan. Neighboring neurons sometimes adopt those orphaned muscle fibers, attempting to keep them alive. But this rescue process is not perfect. Over time, the quality of the signal gets weaker and less precise. That's why you might notice trembling when you stand, or why your legs fatigue faster than they used to. But here is the empowering truth. Research also shows the brain and nervous system are plastic, meaning they can adapt and rebuild connections well into old age. A study from the University of Copenhagen found that older adults who engaged in targeted resistance training not only built muscle, but also reactivated dormant nerve pathways. In other words, strength training did not just bulk their muscles, it literally rewired their nervous system. So how do you put this into practice? Here is a simple but powerful tool. Neuromuscular activation drills. These are short, intentional exercises designed to strengthen the brain-to-muscle connection. For example, try this protocol. Sit in a chair and extend one leg straight out in front of you. Tighten your thigh as hard as you can. Hold for 5 seconds, then relax. Do this for 5 to 10 reps, focusing completely on the contraction. It seems almost too simple, but studies show that even imagining muscle contractions activates the motor cortex of the brain. By combining real contractions with mental focus, you reinforce those neuron-to-muscle connections, essentially teaching your nervous system to reclaim fibers before they're lost. So let me ask you, have you ever noticed your legs trembling or fatiguing more quickly, even during basic tasks like walking upstairs? Drop a comment below, because chances are it's your motor neurons, not just your muscles, that need retraining. And remember, weakness here is not inevitable. By activating and retraining the nerve pathways, you can slow, and in many cases even reverse, the disconnection that drives leg decline after 60. And now, we will uncover another hidden culprit: how inactivity actually rewires your brain for weakness. Here is a counterintuitive truth. Weakness in your legs is not always caused by your muscles. Sometimes it begins in your brain. Think of your brain as a master control tower, constantly sending commands down through the spinal cord to the muscles. But here's the catch. The brain is highly efficient, almost ruthless. If you do not use certain neural pathways, the brain assumes they are not important and starts to prune them away. This is called neuroplasticity. It's the same process that allows us to learn new skills, but it also explains why unused skills fade. Now let's apply this to your legs. If your daily movement decreases after 60, less walking, less stair climbing, fewer balance challenges, the brain literally downgrades the circuits responsible for those actions. A study published in the Journal of Gerontology found that seniors who reduced their physical activity showed weaker activation in the motor cortex, the brain region that controls voluntary movement. In other words, their brains were firing less energy toward their legs, which made the muscles weaker over time. Have you ever noticed how quickly your stamina drops after just a week of being sedentary, say, after recovering from an illness? That's your brain recalibrating to less effort required. And unfortunately, if that state continues, the brain cements it in as the new normal. Here is the empowering part. The brain's plasticity works both ways. Just as inactivity teaches the brain to forget strength, targeted activity can teach it to remember and even expand capacity. Researchers at the University of Illinois ran an experiment where seniors practiced short, low-intensity movement drills, things as simple as standing on one leg for 20 seconds or marching in place with high knees. After only 6 weeks, brain scans showed increased connectivity in their motor cortex, and balance scores improved dramatically. So what's the practical tool here? I call it neuropriming. Here's how you can try it. Step 1. Pick a simple leg movement, for example, standing up from a chair. Step 2. Perform it slowly and intentionally for 5 reps, focusing on each muscle involved. Step 3. Immediately repeat the same movement at normal speed. This primes the brain by first mapping the action with deliberate control, then reinforcing it with real-world speed. Done daily, it strengthens the neural circuits for balance and power. And here is a tip you can start using today. Integrate micro-movements into your daily routine. Every time you boil water, stand on one leg for 10 seconds. Every time you brush your teeth, march in place. These are not just cute tricks. They are proven ways to keep the brain engaged with the body. If this insight is hitting home, consider subscribing to the channel. We dive into the science of aging and strength every week, and joining ensures you won't miss the tools that could literally keep you on your feet longer. Now, we have looked at neurons dying off and the brain pruning unused pathways. But there's another invisible driver of leg weakness after 60, and it has to do with your hormones quietly shifting in the background. And now, we will explore exactly how those changes accelerate muscle decline and what you can do about it. Most people think weak legs after 60 are simply about not exercising enough. But there is a deeper, quieter player at work: your hormones. These chemical messengers regulate nearly every aspect of muscle health, from how well you recover after a walk to how quickly your legs rebuild after strength training. And after 60, those messengers do not speak as loudly as they used to. Here is what the research shows. Testosterone, estrogen, and growth hormone all decline steadily with age. In men, testosterone can drop by 1% each year after the age of 40, and by the time they reach 60, levels may be 30% lower than in their 30s. In women, estrogen falls sharply during and after menopause, which dramatically affects muscle repair and bone density. Add to that a steady decline in growth hormone, the hormone responsible for cellular repair, and the result is slower recovery, reduced ability to build new muscle, and greater vulnerability to leg weakness. A review from Harvard Medical School points out that these hormonal shifts are among the most under-recognized contributors to sarcopenia, or age-related muscle loss. Why? Because they do not cause sudden symptoms. Instead, they quietly alter the soil in which your muscles grow. Imagine trying to plant a tree in dry, nutrient-poor ground. Even if the seed is healthy, growth will be stunted. Hormonal decline creates that same kind of environment in your body. Now, the empowering part. While you cannot stop aging, you can influence how these hormones behave through lifestyle choices. For example, studies show that resistance training naturally boosts testosterone and growth hormone levels, even in people over 70. Similarly, exposure to natural morning sunlight increases the brain's release of luteinizing hormone, which signals the body to produce more testosterone and estrogen. And deep, restorative sleep, especially slow-wave sleep, is when growth hormone surges the most. Miss out on that, and your muscles miss their primary repair window. Here is a simple protocol you can apply today to support your hormones. Train your legs twice per week with resistance exercises like squats or step-ups. Even bodyweight versions count. Get 10-15 minutes of morning sunlight daily, ideally before 10 a.m., to trigger the hormonal cascade that supports muscle strength. Prioritize sleep timing. Going to bed at the same time each night helps regulate growth hormone release. And let's not forget nutrition. Certain foods act like gentle hormone amplifiers. Healthy fats from sources like avocado, nuts, and olive oil help maintain testosterone. Cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli can support estrogen balance. An adequate protein provides the raw material your body needs to actually build muscle once hormones give the green light. Have you noticed changes in your energy, recovery, or even motivation to move since passing 60? Drop your experience in the comments, because many people do not realize these shifts are hormonally driven, not just laziness or aging. We have now explored the nervous system, the brain, and hormones. But there's still another silent driver of leg weakness, the very nutrients your muscles depend on. Now, we will uncover which nutritional gaps accelerate decline, and how filling them can literally restore strength you thought was gone for good. If your legs feel weaker after 60, here's something important to understand. It is not always about how much you move, but about what fuels your muscles. You can think of your body like a high-performance car. If the wrong fuel goes in, or not enough fuel at all, the engine struggles no matter how well designed it is. In the same way, nutritional gaps quietly drain your strength, especially in your legs, because they carry the greatest load of your daily activity. Research consistently shows that seniors often underconsume protein. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition revealed that older adults who hit their protein targets maintained nearly 40% more muscle mass than those who did not. Why? Because as we age, something called anabolic resistance sets in. This means your muscles do not respond to protein intake as efficiently as they did in your 30s or 40s. So the standard 1 chicken breast a day that used to be enough may now leave your muscles underfed. And protein is not the only player. Vitamin D deficiency is rampant among people over 60, especially those who spend more time indoors. Vitamin D is not just about bones. It directly influences muscle contraction. Low levels are strongly linked with increased risk of falls and reduced leg strength. Magnesium also deserves attention. It is required for every single muscle contraction in your body, acting almost like the ignition key that sparks the engine. Without it, your muscles tire quickly and recover slowly. And then there is creatine, not just a supplement for bodybuilders, but a molecule naturally produced in the body that fuels quick, powerful movements. Research shows creatine supplementation can improve strength and even cognitive function in older adults. So, what is the practical protocol here? Let's break it down. Protein. Aim for about 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight daily, spread across meals. For example, if you weigh 70 kilograms, that's 85 to 100 grams of protein, ideally split into 3 meals of 25 to 30 grams each. Vitamin D. Get your levels tested, and if low, supplement under guidance. Safe sun exposure, 10-15 minutes on arms and legs, can also help. Magnesium. Include foods like leafy greens, nuts, and seeds. A supplement before bed can improve both muscle recovery and sleep quality. Creatine. A daily dose of 3 to 5 grams is safe and well studied for seniors, supporting both strength and energy. Here is a simple analogy. Imagine trying to grow a garden without enough water, sunlight, or fertilizer. Even if you plant the best seeds, the plants struggle. The same applies to your legs. Without the right nutrients, your exercise and movement would not translate into the strength you want. So let me ask you, are you confident you are hitting your protein, vitamin D and magnesium needs daily? Or is this an area you suspect could be holding you back? Share in the comments. Your insights could help someone else watching right now. And if you are finding value in these science-backed strategies, this is a perfect moment to subscribe. Each week, we break down the latest neuroscience and nutrition insights into tools you can apply immediately. We have now tackled neurons, brain rewiring, hormones, and nutrition. But there's still another hidden factor, your circulation. And now, we will reveal why oxygen delivery to your legs may be one of the most overlooked drivers of weakness after 60. Have you ever noticed how your legs sometimes feel heavy, even after only a short walk? That sensation is not always about weak muscles. Often, it is about circulation. Your muscles are engines, and like any engine, they require a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients to perform. But after 60, that delivery system begins to falter. Here's why. As we age, our blood vessels lose elasticity. Arteries stiffen, making it harder for blood to flow efficiently. Combine that with a slower heart rate response and reduced capillary density in the muscles, and the result is less oxygen reaching your leg fibers. A study published in Circulation found that vascular health, more than just muscle size, was one of the strongest predictors of leg strength in older adults. In short, if the fuel lines are clogged or stiff, your muscles cannot perform at their best, no matter how much you exercise. This reduced oxygen delivery is why you may fatigue faster, feel more soreness after walking, or even experience balance issues. In fact, research shows that poor circulation in the legs doubles the risk of falls in seniors, not because the muscles vanish overnight, but because they run out of fuel mid-task. The encouraging part is that circulation is one of the most trainable systems in the human body. Even small changes in daily habits can dramatically improve blood flow. For instance, interval walking, alternating between 1 minute of brisk walking and 1 minute of slow walking, has been shown to increase vascular flexibility in as little as 4 weeks. Deep diaphragmatic breathing is another powerful tool. By breathing deeply into your lower lungs, you stimulate the diaphragm, which acts like a pump, improving blood return from the legs back to the heart. Here's a practical protocol you can try. Daily walk plus breathing drill start with a 10-minute walk. Every 2 minutes, slow down and take 5 deep belly breaths, inhaling for 4 seconds, exhaling for 6. Then resume walking at your normal pace. This simple blend of movement plus oxygen training enhances circulation and restores energy flow to your legs. Nutrition also plays a role. Foods rich in nitrates, like beets and spinach, naturally dilate blood vessels, improving blood flow. Omega-3 fats from fish or flax seeds help reduce vascular stiffness. Even staying hydrated is critical, since blood is mostly water. Now I would love to hear from you. Do you notice your legs feeling heavy or tired more quickly than they used to? Drop your experience in the comments, because your story might resonate with someone else who's feeling the same but has not connected it to circulation. And if you have found this helpful so far, consider hitting the like button. It lets us know these science-backed tools are making a difference, and it helps more people find this community. So far, we have uncovered how neurons, brain rewiring, hormones, nutrition, and circulation each contribute to weaker legs after 60. But there's one more factor, and it's not physical. It is psychological. Now, we will explore how your beliefs, fears, and mindset about aging can actually rewire your body for decline or resilience. Here is something many people overlook. Your mindset about aging can be just as powerful as your exercise routine or nutrition. What you believe about your body literally shapes how your body performs. Let's start with the science. Researchers at Stanford, led by Dr. Becca Levy, have spent decades studying the psychology of aging. One of their landmark findings is astonishing. Seniors with a positive mindset about aging lived an average of 7.5 years longer than those with negative beliefs. That is not just quality of life, that is quantity of life. And when it comes to your legs, the same principle applies. If you expect weakness, avoid activity out of fear of falling, or constantly tell yourself, "I'm too old for this," your brain actually rewires your body to match that script. Here's how it works. Fear of falling causes people to move less, which reduces stimulation to the muscles and nervous system. That inactivity then accelerates weakness, which ironically increases fall risk. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. On the other hand, confidence and intentional movement create a positive cycle. You move more, maintain neural circuits, and keep muscles strong. Have you ever seen someone in their 70s or 80s who still hikes, dances, or lifts weights, and thought, "Wow, they seem decades younger"? The difference often lies not just in their physical habits, but in their mindset. They view movement as part of their identity, not as a risk. So, what is the tool here? One powerful strategy is reframing through identity. Instead of saying, "I do not want to fall," shift the self-talk to, "I am someone who trains my balance daily." The brain responds differently to identity-based statements because they create a standard to live up to, not a fear to avoid. Here is a practical exercise. Each morning, write down one action statement connected to movement. For example, "I am someone who climbs stairs with strength." "I am someone who practices balance for 2 minutes a day." Then follow it with a micro-action, like marching in place for 30 seconds or standing on one leg while brushing your teeth. This small ritual combines psychology with physiology. It primes your brain with a positive expectation, and then immediately reinforces it through movement. Over time, your body aligns with that belief. Another mindset shift comes from social connection. Studies show that seniors who exercise with friends or in groups maintain strength and balance far longer than those who go it alone. Why? Because community reinforces identity. When you see others your age moving with confidence, it normalizes strength and reduces fear. So let me ask you, what is one belief you have held about your body after 60, and is it serving you or limiting you? Share it in the comments. Sometimes voicing that belief is the first step toward reshaping it. We have now explored all 6 drivers of leg weakness: motor neuron loss, brain rewiring, hormones, nutrition, circulation, and mindset. Now, we will bring all these threads together, and I will leave you with one challenge you can begin today to reclaim strength and protect your independence for years to come. We have covered a lot of ground today, so let's bring it all together. Weakening legs after 60 is not just part of getting old. It's the result of specific, identifiable, and importantly, modifiable factors. First, we saw how motor neurons die off with age, disconnecting muscle fibers. But you also learned that neuromuscular activation drills, even something as simple as tensing your thighs in a chair, can retrain your nervous system to reclaim strength. Second, we explored how inactivity rewires the brain for weakness. Use it or lose it is not just a saying, it's biology. Yet through neuropriming and micro-movements throughout the day, you can teach your brain to fire those circuits again and preserve coordination. Third, we uncovered how hormones quietly decline: testosterone, estrogen, growth hormone, and silently shift the soil in which muscles grow. But targeted strength training, morning sunlight, consistent sleep, and nutrient-rich foods can reactivate these hormones naturally. Fourth, we revealed how nutritional gaps in protein, vitamin D, magnesium, and creatine starve muscles of the raw materials they need to repair and perform. By adjusting intake and timing, you can literally change the building blocks of your strength. Fifth, we looked at circulation. Weak legs are not always muscle problems. Sometimes it's the delivery system. Reduced blood flow and oxygen leave your muscles underfueled. But interval walking, deep breathing, hydration, and nitrate-rich foods can restore energy and endurance. And sixth, perhaps the most overlooked, your mindset. Beliefs shape biology. Fear of falling leads to inactivity and weakness, while confidence and identity-based habits reinforce strength. A daily practice of reframing, "I am someone who trains my balance," can shift both psychology and physiology. Now, why does this matter? Strong legs are not just about walking further or climbing stairs. They are directly linked to independence, longevity, and even brain health. Studies show that lower limb strength is one of the strongest predictors of whether someone can live independently well into their later years. And when you think about it, your legs are freedom. They carry you into the world, keep you steady when you play with grandchildren, and let you do the simple daily acts that make life rich. So here's my challenge to you. Starting today, choose one tool from this video and commit to it for the next week. Maybe it's the chair thigh contraction drill. Maybe it's marching in place while brushing your teeth. Maybe it's adding one more protein-rich meal to your day. Pick just one, because small actions, repeated daily, create new neural circuits, build new muscle fibers, and reshape identity. That's how strength is rebuilt, not in a single leap, but in steady steps. And I would love to hear from you. Which of the 6 reasons we covered resonated most with you? Was it neurons, hormones, nutrition, circulation, or mindset? Drop your reflections in the comments, because when you share your story, you might inspire someone else to take their first step toward reclaiming strength. If this video gave you practical value, please give it a like. It helps spread the science to more people. And if you have not already, subscribe and join this community. Every week, we translate neuroscience, psychology, and physiology into tools you can use to strengthen your body, sharpen your mind, and expand your life. Remember, weakness after 60 is not a sentence. It's a signal. And when you understand the signal, you can respond with action. Your legs can stay strong. Your independence can remain intact. And your best years can still be ahead of you.